Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Anthem. You may be seated. Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister. The Honorable Edmund Bartlett, Minister of Tourism and Member of Parliament for St. James East Central. The Honorable Marlene Malahoo Fort, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs and Member of Parliament for West Central St. James. The Honorable Audrey Sewell, Cabinet Secretary. His Worship, Councillor Richard Vernon, Mayor of Montego Bay. Other councillors, caretakers, and political representatives. The Reverend Stephen Drummond, pastor of the Irwin Seventh-day Adventist Church. Mr. Linville Freeman, NHT Board Chairman. Mr. Martin Miller, NHT Managing Director. Let me acknowledge as well other NHT Board Directors, Director Nestor Claire Hunter, the management and staff of the NHT, our government partners. We have today with us Mr. Wayne Jones, Deputy Financial Secretary, Mrs. Arlene Williams, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Ms. Cherise Walcott, Commissioner of Lands, and Mrs. Doreen Prendergast, Managing Director of the Housing Agency of Jamaica. To our joint venture partners on this project, the Jamaica Civil Service Association, led this afternoon by Mr. Clarence Frater, First Vice President, and let me acknowledge as well the broader team from the Civil Service Association, Mr. O'Neill Grant, Chairman of the Jamaica Civil Service Housing Company, Mr. St. Patrice Ennis, President of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions. Our development partners, Kankara Development Limited, represented this afternoon by Chairman Mr. Robert Taylor and Managing Director Joseph Lincoln. Our mortgage partners and other government and project stakeholders, residents of Irwin St. James, members of the media, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all, a pleasant afternoon to you. See, I'm greeting you good? All right, so that will not do. Ladies and gentlemen, all, good afternoon. And welcome to this, our handing over ceremony for Union Acres. From the length of the protocols established this afternoon, you can tell two things very quickly. That one, this is a very important event, and two, it took quite a few people from within and outside of government to get this job done. And let's start here this afternoon with a big round of applause for all our project partners, all our stakeholders who worked assiduously over the last few years for us to be here this afternoon. And speaking of protocols, they have been well established, I would say, for this afternoon. So in the interest of time, our speakers who will take the lectern, you can keep your salutations as brief as possible. My name is Dwayne Burbick, and I am truly delighted to be your Master of Ceremonies for this handing over ceremony. We have been doing this since last week in our schools, and Monday officially was Heroes Day. But today that continues as we will be acknowledging heroes, another set of heroes this afternoon. And heroism is a concept we're taught at a very young age, and from very early, we can identify heroes, and generally they have a mask. They are crusaders. People like Superman, Batman readily come to mind. And at the expense of dating myself, there's also the Power Rangers. But what defines a hero is not their superhuman strength or their donning of capes. Sam Sharp did not need superhuman strength to lead the largest slave revolution in the history of Jamaica. Neither did Marcus Garvey need the strength of accelerated healing when he fought for black liberation and self-determination. And Nani did not need superhuman strength, at least depending on which account you read, but Nani did not need superhuman strength when she united the Maroons against the British settlers. The point I'm making is the characteristics that define heroism are not altered personal traits. Instead, it is an utmost commitment to pursue what we believe in, no matter the obstacle or consequence. And with that said, to our new homeowners at Union's Acres, your ability to remain consistent with your NHT contributions, to design and track your housing plan, come what may, show you are your own hero in your very own story. And your act of dedication, selflessness, and sacrifice sees you here today as proud homeowners in Union's Acres. And having welcomed you all, our first duty of business is to bless today's activities, and most importantly, to bless this project, to bless the new families that will put down their roots here as well. And for that, I'll invite Reverend Stephen Drummond of the Irwin Seventh-day Adventist Church to lead us in the blessing and invocation. Please, let's welcome Reverend Drummond.
Thank you so very much. At this time, I'm going to invite you all to stand as we assume the attitude of prayer. Let us pray. O most holy God, in whom we live, move, and have our being, from whom all things emanate, the child that is born, the flower that blooms, are all indication that you are sovereign God who rule the affairs of this universe. Triumphant Father, we plead to you today as we acknowledge our leaders. And so I begin today with our Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, and all the members of his entourage, that God, you will bless them. We pray for their well-being. And as they offer leadership to this nation, we ask you, Lord, to provide them with wisdom and strength. And every decision that they make will meet heaven's approval. We thank you for all the workers of the National Housing Trust, for their leadership. And so today, through their astute leadership, that they will be providing homes for new Jamaicans, for Jamaicans across St. James. And I pray that these recipients will acknowledge your praise and your glory, that they will understand that this is an achievement, and that all honor and glory belong to you. We pray that these homes will be a place where forgiveness will be obtained. We pray that your presence will inhabit these homes. And these homes will become a sanctuary where hearts are nourished. We thank you for the land we love. Thank you for all those who continue to do what they can to make the lives of Jamaica more comfortable and happier. And we pray, dear God, that your presence be felt in this place today, that as we go through the very various items, God will acknowledge your presence. And so we ask you now to accept our prayer as we ask all these mercies in the name of the Father and of the Son Jesus Christ and the blessed Holy Spirit. We all say, Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend Chairman. Now, I said earlier it took several teams of persons to get the job done here today for Union's Acres. And representing the NHT team this afternoon is Chairman of National Housing Trust, Mr. Linval Freeman. And I'll invite Mr. Freeman to the lectern at this time to share his remarks on today's project and the overall thrust of the NHT to create more ownership opportunities for Jamaicans. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let's make him welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Holness, Minister Bartlett, His Worship the Mayor, other political representatives, current and past board members, current members, Mr. Claire, our Managing Director, I see Doran, and I also see O'Neill over there as past members of the board. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we rejoice in it. So we welcome, may I say welcome to the handing over ceremony for Union Acres here in Montego Bay, St. James, our nation's second city. Montego Bay is home to two of the largest developments undertaken by the NHT to date. Cornwall Courts, just north of here, and the estuary, which adjoins here to the north of here. A little over 2 years ago, the NHT broke grounds for this development. The handing over of these units today is therefore a remarkable testament to our ongoing commitment to enhancing the delivery of quality and affordable housing solutions at even a faster pace. And of course, the PM will tell you that we have to pick up the paces because the demand is very high. The National Housing Trust and at its foundation represents visionary collaboration to address a pressing national need for housing. Today's handing over is evidence that this partnership, which began some 48 years ago between the NHT, the workers and employers of Jamaica, particularly through the advocacy of unions, is still at work. Partnership remains a central pillar of the NHT. Without partners, of course, the contractors, and in this case, joint ventures with the unions, we achieve more with partners. The Union Acres development was built under a joint venture arrangement between NHT, the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, and the Jamaica Civil Service Association. I want to acknowledge those partner institutions and their representatives here today, and for the vision and the spirit of partnership that has brought this development from concept to reality. We are here today to celebrate the joy of home ownership, and I keep saying owning a house is a big deal. Looking into the audience today, I can see smiles. It brings me immense joy and satisfaction knowing that today another group of hardworking Jamaicans, including civil servants, will become home owners. At NHT, we understand that a house goes beyond meeting a family need for shelter. These houses will become homes, and home is a grounding force in our lives. It is safety, legacy, comfort, and peace of mind. The NHT is committed to providing more homes and to empowering more Jamaicans to home ownership. This commitment keeps us busy and allows us to adapt and transform our business practices, whether it involves adjusting interest rates, updating existing policies, introducing new programs, or implementing new measures to assist our mortgagors and business during challenging times. In real terms, the new residents of Union Acres will benefit from a suite of different NHT financing arrangements, such as our deferred and intergenerational mortgages, parent assist programs, 100% financing option for our schemes, and our home grant. These financing arrangements help to bridge the affordability gap and allows NHT to focus subsidies and financial support to those contributors that need it most. These two bedrooms and one bedroom modern functional facility are outfitted with the usual hallmarks of NHT community, including green spaces. We insist on these amenities because we recognize the importance of facilitating the establishment of modern, safe, and functional communities. I remember a time when we talked about the future and the implication of climate change. But recent events, both locally and within the region, have made it clear that the impacts of climate change are being felt today. As we continue to build more homes, we recognize our responsibility to be good stewards of the environment. We have invested in researching alternative building materials and methodologies to lessen the environmental impact and create more affordable and sustainable housing solutions for our customers. True to our values, we are committed to empowering our contributors to tap into renewable energy sources and enhance climate resilience through our new smart energy loan. NHT homeowners, including those here at Union Acres, will be able to outfit their units with renewable energy systems such as solar panels or rainwater harvesting and storage facilities. To the new beneficiaries, I say, welcome to the NHT family. We are indeed pleased to be partnering with you on this project and on this home ownership journey. Let the commitment, dedication, and vision that guide you to this point also guide you in protecting this worthwhile investment on behalf of yourself and your family. Finally, let me congratulate Brian Saunders, our Senior General Manager for Construction and Development, and his team, and to the contractor on a job well done. To Donovan Evans, our manager for the St. James branch, and to Wendy Joe for helping to settle the individuals to their role as mortgagors. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much, and may I invite you to enjoy the rest of the proceedings. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Freeman. And Mr. Freeman spoke about the importance of partnership and that it has been a pillar of the NHT since its inception. So if school was in session, ladies and gentlemen, the word for today is, when you look bright, you know, I want you to sound bright too. School is in session, so the word for today is partnership. And our next two speakers have a few things in common. Firstly, if you watch news, you read the papers, you'll find out that they are household names in Jamaica. And secondly, they are both representatives of the people of Jamaica, albeit in different arenas. So this afternoon, however, in speaking about how much this project means to their constituents, they will also demonstrate that the NHTs, and the word for today, is a partnership that works. So let me invite firstly to the lectern, Mr. St. Patrice Ennis, President of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, and immediately following Mr. Ennis, we will hear from the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, Member of Parliament for East Central, St. James. Please make Mr. Ennis welcome.
Mr. Master of Ceremony, Prime Minister, Dr. the most Clarence Rater, other members of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, let me bring you a warm greetings from the trade union fraternity. I was in conversation just a while ago with the immediate past president of the Jamaica Civil Service Association, and because I have seen the most honorable Prime Minister at several of these worker events, I was wondering whether I should have made reference to him when I was greeting the trade union fraternity. But let me observe proper protocol, as the Prime Minister has been at several of these union worker events. So I'm very happy to see him here again today. Well, today marks a momentous occasion as we gather to celebrate the official handing over of Union Acres, Phase 1. And this development stands as the second successful project between National Housing Trust the JCSA, and that is following the success of Union in Twickenham Park, St. the first project of this historic partnership. This collaboration is back to about 1992, the heads of agreement between the government of Jamaica and the trade union movement. It was a critical period in our nation's history when Jamaica was facing significant economic challenges. At that time, workers were rightfully demanding wage increases to cope with rising costs. But the government was unable to meet those costs. And so we in the trade union movement, due to the fiscal constraints, had to alter the way we negotiated. And representing the voice of the workers, we proposed that we embark on what we call developmental benefits, focusing on long-term improvement for the workers. Plots of land promised to the unions had already been pledged. Other parties creating 7 that we completed Union Acres in Twickenham Park. Now, 32 years later, since that 92 agreement, 1992 agreement. Union Acres represents only the second project to come to fruition. The slow progress is of concern to us, as it shows that we are not moving with the alacrity needed to keep in step with the original spirit of the agreement. That is to bring affordable solutions to the workers of Jamaica. Several challenges have hindered this process, not least of which is the high cost of developing some of the pledged lands. We'd also like to encourage closer collaboration from state agencies such as NLA, Ministry of Housing, local government authorities to somehow speed up this process. Their cooperation is critical to helping these developments progress more efficiently and ensuring that affordable housing for workers becomes a reality much faster. But despite these challenges, today is a day of celebrating, a day of celebration, a testament to the enduring partnership between the government, National Housing Trust, and the trade unions. I must single out the joint venture steering committee under the chairmanship of Mr. Michael Taylor for its unwavering commitment and dedication to bring this project into fruition. I'd like to also mention Kankara, the developers responsible for constructing the quality homes despite the many challenges. Today and together, we are committed to building more homes like those which you see in both Union Acres, providing Jamaicans with security of home ownership and the opportunity to build better lives for themselves and their families. I want to congratulate the new home owners as they embark on what is undoubtedly a truly exciting moment in their lives, as they would have realized one of the dreams and aspirations of most Jamaicans to own their own homes. And from the Union Fraternity, 20 acres per parish, this is something that we intend to pursue quite vigorously with the government, and I know from the commitment from the government thus far and the NHT, I believe this is something that we will realize much sooner and swifter in the future. And so on the workers' behalf and on the homeowners' behalf, we are very happy to be here to see that this project has been realized once and for all. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. Most Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, welcome to the great constituency of East Central St. James. You beneficiaries better cheer nicely and be very kind to him and kinder to me, because wherever you are coming from, you now belong to me. So you better be kind to me. Distinguished leaders, led of course by our mayor, the first citizen of our city of Montego Bay, Councillor Vernon, members of the NHT fraternity, members of the trade union fraternity who are here, members of the civil service fraternity who are here, and of course, my newest constituents. My newest constituency for this now powerful community of Union Acres. This has been a little while in coming, and in fact, when you heard the JUTC leader mention how long ago we started from 1992, it tells you, Kankara, what patience can do, because now we have produced some of the finest 2- and 1-bedroom units in this area, and it has added so much to the community of Irwin overall. I want to indicate that the development of this area will augment the expanding dormitory community that the Irwin area is representing, not just in St. James, but in the country. As a matter of fact, I was whispering to the Prime Minister that this PD, which is polling division in political terms, already is the largest PD in Jamaica with 1,500 voters, and Union Acres is not yet added. So hurry up and come and let us and let us add some more, and in fact satisfy everybody that there's no bigger PD ever than this one. But I wanted to make two quick points before I move forward to allow our Prime Minister to make his full presentation. And one is the value of building communities. Because these houses that are built here are mere monuments in block and steel. They have very little value unless occupied by people. And the people are only valuable if they form communities. If they have shared values, if they act together, if they develop strong relationships, if they are able to respond to each other, to care for each other, to care about each other, and to protect each other. And these are the important ingredients that will enable safety and security to be the feature of this community. And you know, this is a challenge in Jamaica today. So many of our communities deteriorate because relationships are not developed and not nourished and not invested in. And I want to make a point to you as you come to be part of this family and community of East Central St. James, that building relationship is at the heart of enabling strong communities. We must be our brother's keeper. We must be our sister's keeper. We must be a unit together that takes care of each other. So social development becomes the bond that enables this relationship to thrive. We are social beings, so we must do things together. We must find moments of shared activities, meet together, exchange ideas, add value to each other. And that's how Union Acres will become the strong and powerful community that it must be. We must also ensure that we develop aesthetics within the area. Because the beauty is not just about us, the wonderful people, but it's the environment. It's creating a surrounding that is pleasing and satisfying to each other, that enables us to walk and move around and breathe clean, fresh air and have fun sanitation around us, and to be able to share in the flora, the beautiful flora of the area, and to respect also the fauna. So we protect the living things as well as the birds and bees and all the wonderful endowments of God's nature that will be around us. That is the completion of a good and great community. I'm excited about helping you to create those very important attributes to build community. And as your member of parliament, I can let you know that we will be with you to ensure that we make Union Acres the finest community in all of Irwin to begin with, all of St. James next, and all of Jamaica. Prime Minister, just before I take my seat, I have to thank you for the level of support that you've given to this constituency in terms of building out the human capital of the area, one, and secondly, the human habitation within the area. Certainly, settlement and housing is so critical to quality of life and improve standard of living. And through the NHT, Martin, I'm very honored to say that you have already delivered over 3
I was tempted to change our word of the day from partnership to probably advocacy or maybe representation, but I'm going to stick with my partnership because, as you have so rightly and aptly put it, Minister Bartlett, that partnership leads to good relationships, and good relationships lead to strong communities. And at the NHT, we have a mantra that we don't just build houses. We build communities, find common ground, and work together to achieve mutual goals. So thank Mr. Ennis, and thanks very much, Minister Bartlett. Coming to us at this time is a band, a choir, that do things a little differently. So different and so excellent is this group that their talent, their taste, and rich musical tapestry has taken them to the Reggae Sumfest stage. I don't think I've ever heard of a high school choir that has performed at a Reggae Sumfest before. But don't take my word for it that they're good. You probably heard warming up earlier and keeping us entertained ahead of this function. But let's hear them for real this time. Ladies and gentlemen, the Herbert Morrison Band and Choir.
And there's a little up on the mic. Oh Lord, Lord, Lord. Oh gosh. I'm thankful for the blessings that are falling on my table. Learning all my lessons, now I'm willing and I'm able to do just what I can. As humble as I am, working towards the goal, and we give thanks for helping us. Pray for health and strength, and life of length and peace of mind. The people and good vibes. We give thanks every time, in every single line. Even if it's not right, we are gonna sing redemption songs for the people when I look at where I'm coming from. Looking back at where the journey began, I really have to say that I'm strong, I'm strong. All praises to the most I want. When I look at where I'm coming from, looking back at where the journey began, I really have to say that I'm strong, I'm strong. All praises to the most I want. Let me tell you about a life of a queen in a December creature. Where me now me reach me so you not gonna see me some. Mama say no come at on and me quit dirty bongo say. I saw me rise, I saw me humble. Let me let go of mine. Let go down and take me time. Do it for the love and naturally. The last sign I go sing redemption songs. When I look at where I'm coming from. to the Most High. So everything's alright inside. So every morning I rise, I know. So when the evening comes, I lift my two hands in the air. I'm blessed home man. With my two hands in the air as far as I can. Oh, 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 sometimes I'm lost and far from home, but I find my way. Follow my heart, I know I'll be found someday. While I'm lost, I learn and live. So what do you say? Let's have a good time until that day. Oh, every morning I rise, I know. So when the evening comes, I my 20 years, I'm blessed on me. With my two hands in the air as far as I can. Yeah, as far as I can. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, every morning I rise and stare at the sun. I know that it is a blessing. So when the evening comes, with my two hands in the air, I'm blessed on me. To end in here as far as I can. Yeah, as far as I can. Yeah, yeah, yeah. As far as I can. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, pardon me, I never want them to stop. Didn't want them to stop. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for the Herbert Morrison. I said band and choir, but I think it takes more than 6 people to form a choir. But, but a big round of applause to the team for that medley of, Leela Ike, Sizzla Kalanji, Chronics. Them sound good. And if I could pick up the lead singer by herself, you could bring up the backing vocals by themselves, you could pick up the band by themselves, you could pick up the young lady on the keys all by herself. All around, a great team and a great performance from Herbert Morrison. Them almost made me come out here singing, but I resisted the temptation. And at our last handing over ceremony, I teased the musical talent of our next speaker, but he didn't take me on. I don't know if Herbert Morrison did enough to draw him out this afternoon with that performance, but we'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to us at this time is Prime Minister and Portfolio Minister with responsibility for the NHT, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, to bring our keynote address for this afternoon. Please make him welcome.
So much things to say right now. The backing band not helping me at all. Where are they? Where are they? No, that's fine. We don't want to break the internet today. That's fine. It's been so good to be with you today. As I sat and almost journeyed off with the music, I do have so many thoughts that I want to convert into words for this attentive audience that is gathered before me. We have been doing several of these events to the point where a few persons have reached out to me and said, Prime Minister, we're tired to see giving out house. And for me, it was such a contradiction that the effect of giving out houses has dulled. Can you imagine that? It doesn't have the impact that it once had. But such is life. It is also a very good caricature of the challenge that the government faces. The government is doing everything that the country would want to see. But yet there appears to be some dissonance in what polls are saying. And it leads me to think that there is obviously a lag time between people appreciating the results and the results themselves. But there is always a difference between how people feel emotionally and how they perceive reality. So there is always a difference between perception and perspective. Always. And that is why we have these ceremonies. The ceremonies aren't just for the official declaration. It is an opportunity for us to place actions into perspective, to ensure that the persons who are going to benefit from these homes and the wider public listening have a deeper perspective and a context to what is happening. Let me share one dimension of today's proceedings, which I am certain would have escaped 90% of those who are here and those listening. My very good friend now, the head of the unions, I hope I got your title right, Patrice St. Clair Ennis, pointed out that we are here today because in 1992, that's how many years ago, 32 years ago, the government of Jamaica, and I won't tell you how old I was in 1992, as I still at university, my first year in university. Anyway, in 1992, the government of Jamaica signed an agreement with the unions. And I liked how you characterized the agreement. And I'm going to unpack what you said. The unions then recognized that the country was in an almost impossible fiscal predicament. And you are hearing this word being used many times over and oftentimes dismissed as unimportant. Essentially, what it means is that the government was not in a position to pay the workers the increase that they deserved. They didn't have the revenues, the tax revenues. That's what it meant 32 years ago. And being good partners, the unions agreed They looked at the books of the government and they understood that the government couldn't make money out of air. And they said to the government, we're not going to let you off like that, because it is your duty to create the revenues, to run the country in such a way that you can give the wage increases. So what we're going to do is to say to you, the resources that you have on hand, which you have not converted into cash, but which can be used to help with the development of workers, we're going to create an agreement around that for the development of our workers. You have lands that you're not using. You can give scholarships to the children of workers and the workers themselves. You can give concessionary access to the NHT resources. Well, put those in a package and we will sign to them. The initial agreement was that the unions would get, I believe it is 20 acres per parish. You see, those people who talk nonsense about the country not going in the right way and that nothing has changed in Jamaica, I urge them, before they open their mouth, in the information age, just go and Google. That was the situation 32 years ago. Today, the government has allocated $200 billion to make the adjustment in public sector wages. You see why it is important that we have these ceremonies? So that we can place things in context, because ignorance is abroad in our land. The truth is, 32 years ago, the students who are going to be graduating, they wouldn't know anything about that. That's not the Jamaica that they experience today. The 30-year-old won't know about the parlor state of Jamaica during that period of time. But I want to give you further context for you to ruminate on. Now, the lands that were given weren't all given at once. They were identified. The government has a land bank. But not every piece of land on paper that appears to be available is actually available. Many of the lands that were allocated under this 1992 agreement were informally occupied already, including this piece of land. They were squatted. So the government gave lands or pledged lands that couldn't be used. Not my government. Because I'm very clear about how land should be used. Not my government. So all those people talking without researching and looking at the facts, let me bring the facts to you. So though they signed the agreement with the unions, it could not be fulfilled. And for those lands that could be fulfilled, they came under competition from other government programs. One comes to mind readily, Operation Pride. So some of the lands that were pledged under this agreement for the unions were absorbed into Operation Pride. So, my friend, Patrice, when you say we have to have a partnership to move things quickly, we need to tell the entire story and not gloss it over. So it is not as if the lands were all available for the project to move. Now, let's say there were some lands available and we could start some of the projects. Well, the first project started in 1997. Why? So from 2002 to 1997, what was the problem? The government bureaucracy to simply transfer the land from the government to the unions to demonstrate ownership. Just to move the lands off the government books to the unions. To this date, some of the lands pledged have not yet been transferred. Government bureaucracy. Not my government, just to be clear. The first project started in 1997. And it was completed, well, the first set of lands were transferred in 1997. The first project started in 2002 and was completed in 2004. Everybody seeing that? Okay. And that project was handed over, I believe, in 2007, and that is what we call now Union Estates. So from 2007 to now, we are going to be handing over Union Acres 17 years later. You see why I say I have so many things to say? And I find myself in this position, not only having to do new projects and bring new things to the table, I spend a lot of my time trying to bring to closure many projects started by previous governments and not completed. I see my task as trying to complete things that previous governments started and just left it up in the air. Whether it is our movement to become a republic, whether it is the establishment of the Order of National Icons, or whether it is the completion of Union Acres. I want to just put that into the context so that when the public is discussing, they appreciate the challenges that we face. All of what I've mentioned are projects started by other administrations 30, 40 years ago. It is my task to complete them, to bring them to a point of completion. So that the civil servants who made the agreement 32 years ago finally have the benefit. But they sang so beautifully. And I said to myself, you know, if only we could get our public bureaucracy to be as efficient as Usain Bolt runs fast. If only we could do things at the speed at which we praise our athletes. We praise them when they run fast. But it is as if it is not done quickly in the public service, it's not done well. Or rather, if it how to increase the efficiency and productivity of the public service, so that the people who are waiting on the benefits don't have to wait 32 years to get them. So I use this just as an example of the challenge that this country faces. But the good news is that the NHT $3,531 housing solutions. And you don't have to wait 17 years for them. In Canterbury, we have 86 units under the Community Renewal Program. They started in February 20. In Adelphi, 217 under our GPP program, and that should have started in April 2025 and be ready in September 2028. Brookside Estates, that's Spot Valley, 403 units, again under our GPP program, that will start in December of this year and be completed in September 2026. And Barrett Hall, St. J, the developers program, that should start in March 2025. That's 1,565 units, and that should be ready in February of 2029. So we have, I like to call it a train line that are slated for this parish, and they will all happen in very quick time for the people of this parish. For the entire area, the housing development for the entire area, the plan is 9,837 housing units for Trelawney, Westmoreland, Handover, and St. James in total. So we are not just focusing on building the houses. We also are building some special projects in St. James. For example, NHT has spent $38 million in completing the St. James Infirmary. And I see the mayor was here. You'll be very happy with that. The NHT is spending $200 million on the Anchovy Police Station. And in scheme upgrades, the NHT is spending $323.6 million on Farm Heights, Pit 4, Vaughansfield, Bullocks Heights, Richmond Hill, and West Green housing developments, housing schemes. So the NHT is following the directive. And the directive is build more houses and build them quickly. The NHT has committed in total to build 43,000 housing solutions for Jamaicans. 43,000. 9,000 plus will be for the Western region. And these are not empty promises. These are all projects that are in varying stages of development and will be delivered. But friends, the demand for housing is such that 43,000 housing solutions will not be enough. We need approximately 150,000 housing solutions over the next 5 to 10 years to close the housing gap. What we have put here is what we know we can finance. The rest of it has to be built by private developers and the open market. But this is not to say that the NHT will not play a role there. And the role that the NHT plays there is to make sure that you have access to affordable mortgages. And we have made it such by several measures that the average Jamaican who is trying to own a home can get access to financing. And the NHT has put in place several innovative mechanisms to ensure that you can own a home. Firstly, we have said that if you're buying into an NHT scheme, you can get 100% financing. So the persons who are buying into this housing scheme, I'm certain will be benefiting from that if they choose to take it up. Depending on your salary range, you pay 0% on your mortgage. Certainly if you are a minimum wage earner. And you can get 2% financing, again, depending on your salary range. So we are making it affordable. So we're not just financing the construction of the homes, which is what I have mentioned, the homes we are involved in, that's 43,000. But we are making it such that the mortgages are accessible. Then we have a home grant facility. And that is for persons who are assessed as being in need or not able to afford. You can actually get a home grant. And that home grant can be as high as 3.5 million Jamaican dollars. We have a deferred mortgage scheme. And you can access that if you are able to afford 40% of the down payment on the house. Partner with a child or another relative who would be able to demonstrate an income stream going into the future to cover the rest of the mortgage. Yes, the intergenerational mortgage is there to help you to access financing. And then we have put in place the triple applicant system. Before it was just two. And that is where government comes in. Government has to create the economic circumstances where we manage inflation and manage interest rates. And that is where economic policy is so important. If the government does not manage those two key pocket inflation moves, the cost of housing is stabilized. And we also noted that interest rates unfulfilled. But I am pleased to say that the NHT will be moving the second to the third project in short order. And after that, the fourth, fifth, and sixth, because we have now put the NHT in a position where the commitments made 32 years ago can be fulfilled. The other part of fulfilling that commitment is the speed at which the government does the transfer of the land and giving the construction approvals. Those are two areas in which we have to exert greater efforts. But the people who will benefit can rest assured that they will have mortgages that they can afford and subsidies to help, because we are making it better and easier for every Jamaican to own their own home. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Holness. Home ownership is indeed possible, thanks to the efforts of institutions like the NHT. And the different word for today, partnerships that the NHT gets itself into with whether it is our private developers under our guaranteed purchase program, partnerships with our unions as we witness here today. It all brings it together. As you rightly indicated, Prime Minister, a housing finance institution. On one side, the NHT is building out the actual housing units, and you heard the numbers, 43,000 overall, approximately 10,000 in Western Jamaica. And the other side, we're providing the mortgage financing, and we're happy to say the average Jamaican, actually the majority of Jamaicans, actually access a mortgage from the NHT at 0%. And we do like you remind us from time to time, Prime Minister, that your edict to the NHT is to build more houses and to build them quickly. And we're working on them, sir. Thank you again for your presentation. Thanks very much. And at this time, just before I invite Prime Minister Holness back to the stage to lead the handover of keys, I'd like to acknowledge as well Ms. Rena Forbes, a councillor caretaker who is representing, I did indicate in establishing protocols that the Honourable Marlene Malahoo Fort, who is the Member of Parliament for the neighbouring West Central, they share the love in this area. She should have been here. So we're now at the most anticipated moment of this ceremony, which is the individual handover of keys. And we'll invite our homeowners to the stage one at a time. They'll receive their keys as they embark on this new journey. And I would like to say to them that today, as you receive these keys, may they serve as a reminder of the heroic achievement you have unlocked for yourselves, for your communities, and of course for your families for generations to come. Ownership is one of those things that changes the trajectory not just of a particular individual, but an entire family at a time, but also generations to come. And I'll invite at this time back to the platform Prime Minister Holness, who will lead the handover of keys. If I could get some assistance in moving the lectern, I'd appreciate it. And I'll ask our beneficiaries as you come up center, and I'll ask that you exit behind me on my left. And we begin the handover this afternoon with Charmaine Baker. Ladies and gentlemen, feel free to be liberal with your round of applause for beneficiaries this afternoon. Kenisha Dixon. And one of the things, Prime Minister, one of those policy measures you put in place is an increase in allocations to NHT contributors under the age of 36, ensuring that we're spreading the NHT benefits. And Ms. Dixon represents that cohort this afternoon. Let's keep the applause going for Marlene Shaw. Carl Sterling. Kenroy Buddington. Alvin Campbell. Make welcome another of our beneficiaries on our Young Adults program, Sade Campbell. Barbara McKenzie. Racine Brown. Shamar Campbell. Shanice Adams. Marjorie Campbell. Marjorie Headley. I stand corrected, sorry. Jean Cottrell McDonald. Lisa, and I hope I get this one right, Kerr? All right, let's go with Peter Gay Hilton. Chrisia Lawrence. Andrea Gallardo, I'm sorry, whenever they go take back the house, I just wanted to make sure I got your name right. Andrea Gallardo. Thank you very much for your patience, and thank you very much, Prime Minister Holness. Let me at this time invite Member of Parliament, the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, to hand over the next set of keys to our beneficiaries.
Give me, but I have to welcome everybody. If I don't touch everybody who come, they have not arrived. So,
and we begin this batch of beneficiaries with Lloyd Brown. Garfield Davidson. Dwight Gordon. Vadney Lynch McFarlane. Marcina Allen Jarrett. Romain Antonio. Vanessa Bowers. Nicholas Campbell. And Janice Buckridge. Thank you very much, Janice. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Bartlett. And let me invite at this time the Chairman of the Jamaica Civil Service Housing Company, Mr. O'Neill Grant, to hand over the next batch of keys to our beneficiaries. And we will begin this group with Lisa Rowe. Marlon Williams. Elaine Edmondson. Paul Nelson. Horace Campbell. Is it Chantel Clark Francis? Please make her welcome. Nicolene Lewis Miller. Evrika Hastings. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Grant. Yes, thank you very much. And let me now invite NHT Chairman, Mr. Linval Freeman, to hand out the final batch of keys to our beneficiaries here this afternoon. And we'll begin this batch with Camille Brown. Nicolia Ramsey Davis. Damian Hudson. Everall Jackson. Wardo Locke. Latoya Swearing. David Taylor. Marshall E. Wanless. And our final beneficiary receiving her key this afternoon, Monique Witter. And just before you move, Chairman, one more for you. Lisa Carr. I nearly give her the house, Lisa. I call your name already, you know. Thank you very much, Mr. Freeman. Thank you, Lisa. And a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for all our beneficiaries this afternoon. And as we heard earlier, over 140 units in the development, but just 50 keys handed out this afternoon. To provide a first-hand perspective now on the significance of this project, I would like to introduce Mr. Carl Sterling, a proud new homeowner here from Union's Acres. And Mr. Sterling at this time will move a vote of thanks.
The Most Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, the Honorable Marlene Malhu Fort, represented by Miss Rena Forbes, His Worship, Mr. Richard Vernon, Mayor of Montego Bay, Mr. Linval Freeman, Chairman of NHT, Mr. St. Patrice Ennis, President of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, distinguished guests, esteemed stakeholders and partners, fellow community members, family, friends, and well-wishers, good afternoon. It is both an honor and profound blessing to stand here before you today as one of the proud new owners, homeowners, and a representative of the Union Acres community. On behalf of all my fellow new homeowners, I extend our deepest gratitude to everyone who contributed to making this housing development a reality. Today's occasion symbolizes more than just receiving the keys to our homes. It represents hope, opportunity, and a step towards a brighter future for our families and community, an extension of our nation. Allow me to extend a special thanks to those instrumental in realizing this achievement. First and foremost, I give thanks to God, whose guidance has inspired the vision, collaboration, and dedication of every individual and institution that had made this dream possible. To the government of Jamaica, under the leadership of our Prime Minister, Dr. Honorable Andrew Holness, thank you for understanding that housing is a key to national development and for championing initiatives that uplifts our communities. In your words, Prime Minister, housing is a fundamental to the social and economic well-being of individuals and communities. For your vision and leadership, thank you. A heartfelt thanks to the National Housing Trust for your tireless commitment to making home ownership accessible. And we heard our pronouncement by Prime Minister The partnership between the Jamaican government and NHT is sound. The media outreach, publications, national outreach, and unwavering support have empowered countless individuals, including us, to realize our dreams of owning a home. So special thanks to the National Housing Trust, led by Mr. Linvan Freeman, Chairman of NHT, Mr. Donovan Evans, Regional Director, and Cheryl Brown, Scheme Team Supervisor, for your dedication and exceptional customer service throughout this entire process, and we already realize that this support will continue thereafter. To the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions and the Jamaica Civil Service Association, we recognize your behind-the-scenes efforts to ensure that your members stayed informed and benefited from this development. Your advocacy and hard work have been essential to the success of this project. To Kankara developers, the engineers, construction workers, your collaboration with the National Housing Trust and civic groups has brought these homes to form from a plan to reality. Please know that you have not just built homes, you have built communities where families can feel safe, secure, and proud. The quality and attention to detail in these homes reflects your unwavering commitment to excellence. Finally, to every individual and entity, both mentioned and unmentioned, who played a role in making today possible, we are forever grateful. These homes are not just structures. They are symbols of Jamaica's determination to invest in its people and its future. As we embark on this new chapter today, I charge us, the new residents of Union Acres, to build on this foundation. Let us work together to foster a community that serves as a beacon of hope and unity, one that reflects Jamaica as a place of choice to live, work, raise families, and conduct business. Thank you once again to all who have made today possible, a legacy for generations to come. In the words of Henry Ford, coming together is a beginning, staying together is a progress, and working together is success. May God continue to bless us all, and may Union Acres be a model of excellence for communities across Jamaica. Thank you.